from my childhood, like Mario Brothers, one of my all-time favorite games for like an old school nerd like me, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI. Those are like, oh my gosh, like, those are my favorites right now. And cooking, etc. And so, let's see. So those are some of the things that I have found like have helped me to like diving into a nerd niche, right? So let's go with how Joe created the Geeky Guys and Gals for God.
Yeah, so I was at a church, like I oversee a lot of program at church, and I noticed a lot of people wearing, at church wearing different pop culture shirts, and that's kind of how it started. Like we started having conversations. We started as a small group, and then we kind of just morphed into a bigger group, and then we combined with the gals, and then we became a nonprofit right before COVID started. And so we're always looking for partnerships for different events and things like that. We have a partner group up in OC that does a lot of gaming, and we're more cosplay. And so usually towards the end of the year is more when we have our events. And so I think we're gonna show a few pictures from a few of our events that we do. Obviously, we usually will meet and have a group picture here at Comic-Con. That was last year in front of the awesome Rebels.
Yeah, it was last year and they didn't tell me. We do a group picture, but we're not telling Robert. Yeah. Thanks, people.
You barely. Anyways, we're gonna run out of time. I start rambling on. But Ronald McDonald House, we did that pre-COVID every month, and now we're just kind of going sporadically right now. If you don't know what the Ronald McDonald House is, it's basically kids are at the Children's Hospital across the street, and the Ronald McDonald House provides housing and meals for the families whose children are across the street. So we go always, when they're doing the meal with characters, we have a kids table. We had a Kylo Ren last time we went, and like, at the first the kids were like this, by the time we were done, they were all colored around Kylo Ren. It was very cool. And then we did a gift wrapping event.
It was 20,000 gifts, right?
Yeah. So this person started as a small thing, and it's morphed into other cities now. So we just, kids don't have a lot during Christmas time.
So to be sure, I don't know if anyone has partaken in this particular event, but what it is it's meant for, like I said, unfortunate children that are, economically not as well off. And so they got together all these different items to wrap up. But the items, like I said, first it started off, I think, as like one or like 100, something small, which morphed into like 500, which morphed into 1,000, which morphed into, like, just here in San Diego, 10,000. Then they asked the person to do LA also, so that turned into 20,000. So it was on the news. So they're not just Christian like cosplayers; they do all these nonprofit events, right?
We're always looking for things in the community. Shop with a Cop is the dearest one to me because I'm a U.S. probation officer here in San Diego, and so my office has been doing Shop with a Cop for years. And then during COVID, we finally got the approval to have characters come, and so we've been doing that ever since. And what it is it's each regional area of San Diego, law enforcement identifies a school with kids underprivileged, and we raise money the whole year, including with the Padres game. Part of the proceeds for the law enforcement night goes towards that, and each kid gets, I think it's $120 now gift card, and they go to SeaWorld, they have a breakfast, and they get to see one of the animal shows, and then they come in police cars, all the sirens, and it's like this big parade to Target. Target's ready for them. They go in with their officer and they shop, and then they have gift wrappers. And so we're just there as kind of like extra entertainment for the kids and pictures. And yeah, it's an awesome event. I just found out that my office is gonna try to do El Centro now too. So a second event the following weekend, which is pretty awesome. So
I don't see any kids in this picture.
Well, to be fair, at many of our events, like, we're all in here. You see a picture of a character, you want your picture with them. That's just how some of the police officers were too. So.
I'm messing with you.
And Rob, in some of our events, we're very cautious about you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I'm turning it over to Jeannie Lopez. So obviously she makes her own creations, right? And when she's talking about sewing everything, And so once you get part of these guys, they will die hard nitpick you. When are you gonna cosplay with this? What outfit we want me to help you join or to help you make? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm not a cosplayer. Like, no, we can help you. We will help you, like, sew everything for you. I'm like, no, I'm good. And like, yeah, but they will. She's serious. She will like send you all like whatever you need. So she'll sew it. And I'm like, no, I'm fine, G.
Except you did send me a picture.
I did, of something.
Very cosplay.
So-
We did convince him finally. We'll see when he wears it. So, like I told you, I grew up in a household where, actually until I was in high school, I never bought clothes. I didn't know what size I wore. Because literally, if I wanted something, I just told my mom, I want it to look like this, but I want it this fabric, and then magically it would appear. So I grew up with that sense of creativity. And so when I wanted to cosplay, or when I wanted to costume my kids, it was really easy for me to translate that into clothing, fabric, whatever, I deal in fabrics. So it was really easy for me to do that. And so this is cosplaying in this kind of arena is a really fun outlet for me. And then I also love to teach it to other people, so that if that's a skill that they want to learn, so that they can then take their creativity. And the other thing that I really, really love to do is take weird stuff and make it out of. Like, you wouldn't know it, but my outfit is made out of curtains from the dollar store. That's what my outfit's made out of. And so I really love taking really weird things and creating something out of it, and having this imagination. And I don't have to be a real character, but so we have some. So on the that's my son whose head I cut off, because it's more about the outfit than it is about him. So this is one that we created for the masquerade last year, and it is a totally made up character. And so what we wanted to do, his character was the MC on the Star Wars dating game. And so, I sat down with my son and I'm like, okay, what do you think the MC of a Star Wars dating game would be like? And he said, well, it's gotta kind of be flashy, because this is kind of what MC is. So kind of like the husband in Andor, but more like this. And so we just kind of pulled it all together. His jacket is also made out of curtains. That one I got off of Amazon because I liked the pattern off of that. His pants, you can't quite see it, but they're like accordion. Old piece of fabric I've had for years, sitting in a bin someplace. And we just decided it was kind of weird looking, and so we decided to make a pair of pants out of it. The vest underneath is very asymmetrical, and he wanted that little gold bling in there. So I just love doing that creative stuff. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a character, it could be a made-up character. The Anakin is my middle son. So I have 3 boys. The oldest is not a nerd by any stretch of the imagination. My other 2 are definitely nerds. My middle one, who's the Anakin here, is into the video game industry, and so definitely a nerd. And then my youngest, who is there with me, that's my outfit, my Morgan Elspeth outfit, and then he's Morocco, and he built his own outfit. And then last year, the Ahsoka was part of the Star Wars dating game.
So we had Superhero Day at Carmel Valley Library, and everyone participated. Want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so we partnered with Robert and his coworkers and friends, and we did a superhero reading time, ironically on May the 4th weekend, but it was superhero, but it was cool. So we had May 4th events too, but yeah, we had, that's our resident Superman. We call him Super Dan because his name is Dan. So, and then I'm Star-Lord in that, Jeannie's Wonder Woman, and yeah, the kids had a blast. We did a couple reading stories, and then we did a craft with them.
And Terrence was the Hulk that made everyone cry, right?
Yeah, and Terrence is wearing he puts this whole costume on. His character, his personality, like literally changes, and he's this goofy guy, and the kids just absorb to him.
But he didn't say anything, but this little girl was like crying, like as soon as she would look at him.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if you met Terrence out of his costume, he's such a mild-mannered kind of person, and like Joseph.
Clark Kent.
He puts that costume on, and he is outgoing. The kids usually just absolutely follow him around and love him, and he's like fist bumping all the kids, and I mean, it's just amazing to see that transformation.
So, what is this water outreach?
So every year, we do 1,000 water bottles downtown on Saturday outside. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on it, but there's another Christian group outside that portrays a negative light, and we wanted to do something positive. So what we did is we decided we were going to pass out 1,000 water bottles in front of the Hilton Bayfront on the Saturday, and we have somebody that we buy the water in the bins, the Costco bins, and they pick them up, they ice them, they bring them down to us, and we pass them out until they're gone. So it's a pretty cool event.
What time are we going to do this?
We're doing that at 3 p.m. on Saturday. If anybody wants to come and help, you're welcome to come and help.
All right. You know what this is alluding to. We'll get to it later, but there's a specifics. All right, Becca. What are we looking at?